non-court matters. Justice Yanko of the Federal High Court Abuja has permitted detained Deputy Commissioner of Police DCP Abakari to file more evidence against the suit filed by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation on behalf of the federal government seeking his extradition to the United States to face trial for criminal charges. The court granted the request made through Kyari's lead counsel, Nurani Jimo, during consideration of a motion on notice. The lawyer, while arguing the application, prayed the court to allow his client to tender additional documentary exhibits to establish his innocence. Lawyer to the plaintiff, Pius Akuta, however, opposed the request, predicting his opposition on the ground that it was an attempt to cure deficiencies in the earlier documentary evidence adduced by the detained DCP Kyari. In a brief ruling, the presiding judge rejected the objection, stating that the court would have ample opportunity to determine the probate value to be attached to the extra evidence. Justice Eko thereafter fixed today for a definite hearing in the case initiated at the request of the American government for Kyari's trial, having been indicted on an alleged internet fraud involving a Nigerian Instagram celebrity, Rahman Abbas, popularly known as Hush Puppy. In education, the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU has expressed optimism about its ongoing meeting with the Professor Nimi Briggs Committee, describing the negotiation as being progressive. Speaking in an interview with Newsman, the national president ASUU, Professor Emmanuel Osedeke, said the union had been negotiating with the Briggs Committee since last week over its demands. ASUU commenced its ongoing strike on February 14th, 2022, after the federal government failed to meet some of its demands, including the release of revitalization funds for universities, renegotiation of the 2009 federal government ASUU agreement, release of earned allowances for university lecturers, and deployment of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. Reports say that on March 7th, 2022, the federal government inaugurated a 7-person committee tasked with the renegotiation of the 2009 agreement reached with ASUU, which was chaired by Pro-Chancellor Alex Ekweme Federal University, Ndufo Alike. Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Education has received reports of the 21 white paper drafting panels which were constituted in March 2022 for tertiary institutions across the country. You're listening to the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM. Let's take a breather and then bring more stories from our foreign, sports, and entertainment scenes. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now on the foreign scene, Russia's war in Ukraine, which began on February 24th, has entered its 100th day. NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg has warned Western nations to prepare for the long haul as the battle becomes a war of attrition. UK military intelligence has said that Russia is now achieving tactical success in the eastern Donbas region, but at a huge cost. On his part, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said Moscow's forces are in control of 20% of Ukrainian territory as fighting continues in the key eastern city of Severodonetsk, which is now largely under the control of Russian troops. As a result, taking Severodonetsk would mean Russia controls almost all of Luhansk, part of Moscow's bid to capture the wider Donbas. Recall that earlier today, the United Nations said there would be no victor from Russia's invasion of Ukraine as the conflict ended its 100th day and Moscow's forces pressed deeper into the eastern Donbas region. Now to sports, where the Super Eagles concluded their tour of the United States of America with a loss to Ecuador at the 25,000 capacity Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. The match, played earlier today, saw Nigeria losing 1-0 to Ecuador in new coach José Peseiro's second match with the squad. An early goal by Villarreal's Pervis Estupinan was enough for the Ecuadorians to win against Nigeria in the match, but apart from the goal, took more than 70 minutes to provide excitement in the penalty area. Recall that in what was José Peseiro's first outing with the squad, Nigeria lost 2-1 to Mexico in a game of two halves in Dallas on Saturday. Meanwhile, the match against the Ecuadorians comes exactly a week before the Super Eagles tackled the Leone Stars of Sierra Leone at the MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, in their opener to the 2023 African Cup of Nations qualifying series. Now on the entertainment scene, Nigerian singer Simi has made a notable return with her 11-track album, To Be Honest. The much-anticipated album features her husband Adekunle Gold and guest appearances from Deja and Faith. To be honest, the Simi's fourth studio album following her 2019 On More Charlie campaign, Volume 1. Speaking to newsmen, Simi spoke about combining motherhood with our craft. It's been the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM. Yo, but before we go, a recap of the major stories. In the news, we told you President Muhammadu Buhari's departure at the Spanish capital Madrid for the journey back to Abuja after a 3-day state visit. The federal government has said that despite significant progress made in the fight against tuberculosis epidemic in the country, there were still over 200,000 new tuberculosis infections occurring every year, the knowledge of health officials. The Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU has expressed optimism about its ongoing meeting with the Professor Nimi Briggs Committee, describing the negotiation as being progressive. On the foreign scene, we told you that Russia's war in Ukraine, which began on February 24th, has entered its 100th day. In sports, we reported that the Super Eagles concluded their tour of the United States of America with the loss to Ecuador at the 25,000 capacity Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. For comments and coverage of newsworthy events, call an Newsman 0812-770-2940. That is 0812-770-2940. Visit our website on Planet 101FM.ng. You can also follow us on Twitter at Planet_101FM. Like our verified Facebook page at Planet 101FM. We Owe the News was edited by Isaiah Udo and Jane Owa. As we end the news, we urge you to always believe in yourself, stay true to what makes you unique, and always trust your gut. I am Bright James. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.